Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2 of the Leading Safely podcast, and welcome to 2023. I hope that each of you had a wonderful Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year's break. This year, my plan is to make this podcast bigger and better, and to bring to you more voices and more perspectives to consider. With everything you hear or read from me, whether it's on this podcast or via LinkedIn, please know that my main aim is always to get you to think critically. I am so appreciative and excited when I see my posts with thousands of impressions or heaps of comments, because for me, this means that people are starting to think about health and safety issues that need to be thought about or questioned. Remember, you don't need to like what I say, nor do you have to agree with it. But if anything that you see or read makes you stop and think, even for just a minute, then I've done my job. So today, I have an interesting little episode for you, with a special guest who comes to you all the way from the UK. His name is Pienaar. Lewis is a health and safety manager in the British Army, specifically with the 1st Battalion Welsh Guards. He grew up in South Africa and in 1999 left to visit London on a working holiday. This led him to join the British Army in November 2000, and since then he has not looked back. During his 22 years in the British Army, Lewis has gained a wealth of experience working in different environments, from the Kenyan bush, Belize jungle, to patrolling the streets of Afghanistan and Northern Ireland, where he transferred to the 1st Battalion Welsh Guards and joined the motorised transport platoon. The Welsh Guards are not only infantry soldiers, but are also part of the household division, which means taking part in state ceremonial duties, such as what was the Queen's and now the King's birthday parade. During Lewis's time with the Welsh Guards, he also deployed a further time to Afghanistan in 2018, and unfortunately experienced the loss of 9 colleagues on operations whilst in Afghanistan. In 2021, sadly, another colleague was lost during a live fire training exercise. A career of 22 years with first-hand experience on seeing the effects these tragic losses have had on people is what made Lewis passionate about health and safety and well-being, and working towards a culture of true human leadership while building on the foundations of trust, communication, and respect. So let's hear from my new friend, Pienaar. Thanks for joining me on the Leading Safely podcast. Question 1 is, what do you think makes an effective leader when it comes to health and safety?
Hi Georgina, thank you for having me on as a guest on your podcast. During my 22 years in the army, I have come across many leaders, and there was only a few that truly stand out to me. The ones that you think, this is an excellent leader, this is the kind of person I would follow into battle. The person that everyone looks up to, and the kind that everyone mentions in their speeches on their dine out after 22 years when they leave the army. Thinking back to them now, they all had the following attributes in common, and that is trust, communication, and respect. You could always trust that they have your best interest at heart regardless of the situation or environment. And that even though you would not always agree with the decisions at the time, deep down you know that is a decision that has been taken for the benefit of the whole team. There are always clear channels of communication in the fact that they could clearly communicate their vision and the role that you have in that vision. But more importantly, regardless of how busy they were, they would always be able to listen, and even if they cannot give you the right answer at the time, they would go out of their way to help you. Those are the actions that earns them that respect that you need to be a good leader, and the willingness for people to follow them into battle without question. They are also the person that you do not want to let down and lose their trust because of the respect that you have for them. So, what makes an effective leader? A leader that you want as a role model? To me, that is a leader that you can trust, has clear communication with a willingness to listen, and one that you respect and respects you equally.
Okay, so the next question is, what would be your words of wisdom for someone dealing with people who do not want to change when it comes to health and safety?
For me, understanding is key when it comes to situations like these. There are many reasons for why people are unwilling to change. It could be that they feel undervalued, have low trust in the organization, or feel that why should they change if their circumstances are not going to change. And as a good leader, it is your responsibility to understand what those reasons are. Just be persistent, giving them your trust, show them that they truly matter. Eventually you will start getting through to them and they will start to reveal themselves. And only then will you be able to begin to truly understand their unwillingness to change.
Finally, my last question to you is, if you could invent something to solve a health and safety problem in the workplace where expenditure, opinions, basically everything didn't matter, what would it be and why?
We currently are working very much in a top-down organization. We have different departments, and even though we all have one mission, we all have very different roles within that mission. And this can lead to a breakdown of communication and the managing of health and safety particularly challenging. So for me it won't be so much as inventing something new, but rather designing a new system that will streamline the communication between the different departments and the managing of health and safety less complicated. A system that is far more user-friendly, where everything in health and safety will be located in one place and accessible to everyone within the organization. The topic that I would like to talk about very much relates to my first answer, and that is leadership and the impact it has on mental well-being. Bob Chapman, CEO of Barry Wellmer, once said, according to the Mayo Clinic, the person you report to at work is more important for your health than your family doctor. To me that is a big statement, and a statement that I think every manager or aspiring leader should take to heart. I left South Africa in 1999 to visit the UK on a 2-year working holiday, which led me to joining the British Army in November 2000, and have now served 22 years. During this time I have served with the Parachute Regiment, and I eventually transferred to the Welsh Guards. I have also been away on operations to Afghanistan, Northern Ireland, and have done overseas exercises in Kenya and Belize. I have first-hand experience with losing colleagues on operations, and most recently have lost a friend on a training exercise. All this experience has given me a unique opportunity to work with many leaders over the years, and as I previously alluded to, not only a few of those has truly stand out to me. The military is a top-down organization, and once you start to climb the rank of promotion, the higher you climb, the less opportunity there are for promotion. That is when you really start to see who you are working with, and it brings out the best and the worst of people. People become extremely competitive and will step on each other to get to that next level. I have seen many leadership qualities in my time. There is the ones that will pretend to be your friend but secretly work behind your back and will undermine you at every opportunity they get. There are the ones that only do something when someone important is watching. The ones that like to shout at people for no reason, just to be heard. And there is the ones that, because of their charisma and the fact that everybody likes them, do not have to do anything and they will get away with it. Sadly though, these are the kinds of people that normally makes it to the top of the pile. They leave a wake of destruction in their path climbing to the top without ever giving so much as a thought to the people that they manage. Working in the military, you develop a darker sense of humor, and we use this as a coping mechanism to deal with the environments and pressures we sometimes must work under. We call this banter, but there can be an exceptionally fine line between what someone sees as banter and what someone else sees as bullying or just generally taking it too far. The good leaders will be very much in tune with the people they manage and will pay close attention to how this banter affects the well-being of employees and step in when it goes too far. However, the bad ones will join in without any thought about the impact that banter has on the well-being of that employee. Work-life balance is also a very precious thing to all serving soldiers. They can spend anything up to 6 months away from their families, so when they are at home, that is very precious moment they have with their families. And the use of mobile phones and WhatsApp has started putting a strain on those relationships. Understandable that we are in the military and that comes with certain sacrifices that needs to be made. But there must be more thought given about when to phone someone or send a message. Does that message really get sent at 10 in the evening or on a Sunday morning? Or can it wait until the next working day? It does make you wonder about how the military used to get information across before the invention of mobile phones and WhatsApp. Technology is there for use and can make things better, but when it starts to have an impact on those precious moments we hold so dear, we just need to stop and think, is this really that important or can it wait? Even though saying all these things, I feel very privileged to have worked with all these people, especially the bad leaders, as they all have taught me valuable lessons. Lessons about what makes a good leader and what does not. About the importance of how you make your employees feel about themselves. Building them up rather than breaking them down and using them to achieve your next promotion. And those really small gestures that really matters and hold so much power, like saying thank you and please, and the recognition for when they have done an excellent job. Once you start investing in your employees, taking their mental well-being into account, start trusting them, give them respect and show them that they truly matter. That is when you will start to see a change that will be for the better. They will start to give you their hearts, hands and mind. You will see an improvement of commitment across the whole of the organization that will go far and beyond and have an impact on the immediate society. That to me is true human leadership.
So there you have it, some really great insights brought to you direct from the UK. Please don't forget that you can now join a global network of people who are passionate and genuinely care about worker health, safety or the environment by heading to hsec.au. That's hsec.au, HSEC, and adding yourself to the mailing list. That way, you will be kept up to date on news and events and everything else that is this exciting new initiative. You can also still get in touch with me directly via LinkedIn or by emailing leadingsafely@outlook.com. Until next time, stay safe.